More than 10,000 enslaved people fled to freedom in New Bern during the Civil War, and the community is making sure that this powerful history is never forgotten.
In this week's Focus on Black History Month, Stephen Glover is live outside the circa 1850 slave quarters in James City now with those details. Stephen?
Dave, Courtney, right behind me is one of the very few structures from that era that's still left standing, which is a slave quarter. The James City Historical Society is saying that they're trying to keep the black history alive by telling it to the next generation of people. In 1862, Union troops seized New Bern. In that moment, more than 10,000 enslaved people chose to walk towards freedom. By 1865, nearly 3,000 of them had built something remarkable, a community called James City in honor of Reverend Horace James.
If any African American could make it here to the Trenton River camp or the Trenton River settlement, they was considered to be free.
Craig Allen is a member of the James City Historical Society and teaches the history of these very slave quarters in James City. Inside these non-insulated walls, as many as 30 family members lived together. This quarter was considered luxury because house servants stayed here who lived in them. This rich history is personal for Allen. He's made it his mission to tell it.
It's just nice to be able to tell the story and share the story. And I get a kick out of it. Just cheers to my body to be able to talk about the history of my hometown.
At New Bern High School, that history is front and center. Students walk past banners featuring freedom fighters, the names of the formerly enslaved, and the history of James City's founding.
As they read it, they get to sense a deep and unknown history of who they are and where the community came from.
For Allen and Hallowell, the story of James City is more than a page in a history book.
The whole part of black history is to bridge that gap from the past to what is present and then going into the future.
Hallowell says the James City Historical Society received grant funding from America 250 NC to create the Created Equal project to bring more of those stories to the classrooms. Reporting live in Craven County, Stephen Glover, WITN News.
All right, thanks, Stephen. And Holloway says that on April 26th, the Historical Society plans on having a Founders Day banquet at the Flame Restaurant in New Bern to honor the founding fathers of James City.